this new event has brought back a lot of the older player that has either stopped playing, a slew of new players, or some relatively new player that decide to re-roll for a better account, especially with the introduction of Red Hood and the amount of freebie that they gave us. So let's take a look at one of the most important thing you're going to set up in this game is the wish list. This is for the general recruitment banner, and first of all, you need to make sure your wish list is completely occupied. If you don't occupy it, the wish list is not going to work. But once you set this up, you will be only getting characters out of this wish list for your normal recruitments. On top of these, there's always the pilgrims that will sometimes show up. But for the 3 company Nikkeis, it will be limited to who you choose in the normal recruitment. The special recruitment and the friendship recruitment are all excluded from the wish list, so they will not be affected by your wish list. Whoever that's gonna get summoned will just get summoned. All right. So let's take a look and do some quick explanation of why you want to pick and on certain characters and why you want to do it. So let's take a look at the first Elysian. This is our military company. Well, technically the more military, right? But then as everyone already know in the game long enough, that the Elysian is probably one of the worst performing Nikkei companies out there. With the exception of a few support that they have, funny enough. So their main DPS kind of sucks, but then their support is actually not bad. Okay, so for support, you want Helm initially. What does Helm give? Helm gives you a let's see here, where's the skill? Helms will give you burst damage. Support, it will increase burst damage, and then she will also give you lifesteal. Okay, which will be very useful on harder raids and especially on solo raids as well. Second one will be Purity. She is actually one of the more important ones you want to get. Purity will actually give you attack. She will increase your ammo capacity, but at the same time, she will increase your reload speed. This means that she will be very, very useful on characters that does not has a last bullet or last hit mechanic. Last hit mechanic means that they have some certain skills that only activated on the very last bullet of their magazines. Okay, Purity also provides stuns for 3 seconds. Most likely, and some additional damage as well. Most likely, you won't ever see this once your Nikkeis are level up, because Purity will be the 3rd burst character on your team that is never getting into burst rotation. She's just be there for the activating the last bullet mechanic. Next character will be Miranda. Miranda, she is basically a one-trick pony. Why? Because she provides 40% attack to one ally for 10 seconds. Honestly, out of this entire list for Elysian, Miranda is probably the most questionable to have. You can probably replace Miranda with other Nikkeis I'm going to mention later on, if you do not wish to use her, because she is kind of she's pretty picky on her teams. All right, next one will be Guillotine. Guillotine was pretty bad at the initial game release, but since then she got buffed pretty well. So now she provides crit rate, crit damage to herself, and on top of that, for every health that she drains on herself, she increases her own attack. So she buffs her attack to a pretty insanely high level, and her burst deals a really high amount of damage as well. The issue with Guillotine is that because of her HP drain, you do not want to use too good of a healer on her, or else she will never really activate her second skill and her burst skill. So which makes choosing her team a little more difficult. You have some units that help bypass that issue. For example, Must. because Must is able to buff your HP but without healing your max HP. So this basically automatically puts a Guillotine into near 50% or maybe just slightly higher than 50% health status immediately right before the burst. Okay. And after Guillotine, the last one that is a must have is Marciana. Marciana she's a pure support / healing character. She gives you lifesteal on her last bullet, which means she is very useful with Privity. She also recovers your HP on her burst, and she also increases your max. She will give you an extra green colored health pool during her burst cycle, which means that your Nikkei will be a lot more tankier than normal. And she is very useful on the Nikkeis that self-drains, high damage, high output, and self-drains a lot. For example, A2, you want to keep her in the 50% HP above zone, and the same goes to Scarlet, because Scarlet's damage doesn't really tank that much with a full heal. Alternative picks instead, most likely you probably don't want to use Miranda for a lot of cases. Diesel is not a bad choice. If you have Diesel, you can try to build her as well. She really doesn't do much for most players, except for she is a very, very good taunt, along with self-regen whenever she bursts. When the strawberry field is maxed out, this means that she is almost impossible to kill in either PvP when she ramped up or against certain bosses fight. And also, I believe Diesel was given out for free during the initial playing campaign. So if you started playing this game a while back, Diesel is she's worth some investment. Next one will be Polly. Polly is actually not too bad as well. She actually will be working with Biscuit, which I will mention later on as another 40-second burst 2 for some solo raids. The current solo raid with Ultra, you will have Biscuit and Polly as one of the burst 2 alternative possibilities to go work with Summer Anise. Okay, that is pretty much it. Oh, also, you can use D, in which, as you can see, I did not have her. What D does is she gives you a quick burst at the beginning of the match, only for one round, and at the same time, she will increase her strong element against iron type boss. Okay, which will be very useful for her own damage output, and just slightly helps with your tank as well, because it will increase damage to parts for attacker allies. Okay, she also increases the full burst time of your team, which means that your team's output will be increased by just a tiny bit. Because the damage output calculation, there is additional damage boost whenever your entire team is bursting. Alright. Next one would be, where did I go? Will be Missilis. And of course, this is until the release of Naga and Tia, Missilis is, I would say, behind Tetra in terms of development and how good their Nikkeis are. But with the release of Naga and Tia, I would say they are a better support. They're a better support company than Tetra. So who do you want to use? Of course, you want to have Leader. If you ever play FGO, Leader is the waiver of FGO. She is consistently good because she gave you burst cooldown. She gave you maximum capacity on ammo. She also gave you additional attack. Okay. She also gives you covers HP as well, and she also gives even more attack during burst. So by all means, Leader is a very, very, very good burst 1 characters that you will trying to use as much as possible in pretty much any single comp, as long as she's available to use. Next one is Senti. Senti is I will put her on here because she is a very beginner friendly character. She may not be as good as a later stage character, but until then her burst, because she generates a lot of shields. She generates shields whenever she hits a target. After a few hits, right? Let me see. Attacks of itself, and the shield's created once every 9 seconds, and every time that you hit the enemy with a full charge, you reduce a cooldown by 9.16%. So she creates shields very, very often. And what shield does in this game is the fact that shield actually has a gating mechanism, so it absorbed the full brunt of that one single hit of the moment it breaks the shield. So basically, if you have a very high attacking value enemy that's going to kill your unit in one hit, shields can provide that. And that is very invaluable at early game stages, because for a lot of your characters, shields are actually tied to burst cycles, and Senti can provide that just off burst cycle. On top of that, Senti is actually one of the best burst generator in the game. So because of that, she's also very, very useful in PvP. Okay. Next one will be Drake. Drake is a little bit more debatable, but I would suggest people to pull her if you're new, because Drake is a shotgun unit, which will be very useful on boss fights like Gravedigger, which you will be doing quite a bit to try to get more materials for your Nikes to level up their armors. And what she does is she provides maximum ammo capacity to herself. She deals extra damage, and most importantly, for a lot of the raids now, she is set as a non-used burst 3 character to provide additional attack to her teammates. I remember at the same time, she is very good as a shotgun character in Gravedigger. Alright, and with that being said, the last 2 characters that is recommended to be pulled is Naga and Tia. Naga, she is a burst, I believe she's a burst 2 character that will work with Tia quite a bit. She can technically work by herself, granted her efficiency is going to decrease a little bit without Tia. She recovers HP after 12 normal attacks. And when shield is applied to her, she will provide additional damage on course. Okay, this is very, very useful on characters and on boss fights with boss that has course, and on sniper or some other enemy teammates that we have that has pierce and that can hit course that is hidden behind the boss or hidden behind the boss's armor. Okay. But you need to be very careful, because the applying shield means that the shield will have to be applied to the individual. There are a lot of characters in this game that will provide shield, but they do not apply shield to individual. They apply shield in front of the team. You want this type of shield to be applied on each person, because when they break, each person, so that it will triggers Naga's shield applying mechanism. The only character in this game that does this is Tia, Aria, Ether, and I believe what's the last character? Ether and the Folk One. Folk One is kind of hard to use for that. Aria is the substitute / low tier replacement for Tia if you do not have Tia for the time being. But and either just don't even think about it. She's not that good as a substitute. Okay. Next one, we have Tia. Tia is a character that definitely relies on Naga both in games and in her kit as well. Tia requires a lot of cover when recovery cover for her entire burst and her buffs to work. But when the cover is recovered, when the cover's HP is being recovered, she will reduce burst cooldown. She will provide additional attack damage. So we need to be careful with this one. Attack damage, it is a very unique number because it is not attack percentage. Attack damage is the separated damage multiplier that is out of your general attack and crit equation. So this is one of the final multiplier to your output, which means the attack damage multiplier is very, very good and very useful. Okay. She also taunts, and the issue with her taunts is sometimes she'll kill herself because the enemy will just completely focus fire on her and she just taunts to her death. If you want to use Tia, you need to learn how to dance around the covers to make sure that she will distribute the damage between cover and herself. Alternatively, a lot of people doesn't do this, but you can just choose her and don't attack. If you do not attack, you do not taunt. If you do not taunt, she will not die. Okay, next thing. Oh, by the way, she generates shield on her burst, which will be very, very useful on Naga. And what alternative pick? Who can we choose for Missilis, right? Most likely, if you are a long-term player like I am, you no longer need Drake. You also no longer need Senti because you'll probably get them. Both Senti is good in just one copies, honestly, because Senti's the shield is such a low HP. It really doesn't matter how much effort you put on her. Drake is good, but Drake is not used as main DPS anymore for a lot of later raids. Who do you want to have? You can have the Plus. The Plus is not the best character, but she is still pretty decent on enemy that has a pierceable and the pierceable parts. Her damage is not the highest, but however, her damage is still A tiers, just slightly below A2 and 2Bs, and her runs as well. So she, while not the best, she still provides decent amount of damage for solo raid purposes. She also has a pretty decent radius on her burst, on her charged normal attack, so that will be helpful to your team. So besides the plus, you can use Pepper. What Pepper does is that Pepper has the restore shield, restore HP on the last bullet, a mechanic, which means that she will be perfect to be paired with Privity. Even if with no Privity, she's fine because she is a clip reload characters, not a magazine reload. She only reloads like 3 ammos at once, and because of that, you can absolutely manually control her to force her to shoot as soon as she reload one clip, like 3 bullets, and use it up, and then she'll shot again, so it will increase her healing cycle by quite a bit. She also does a decently well amount of damage whenever she's firing at whenever she's on your team, but her main purpose is to heal. Next one will be, I would say, Maxwell is also really good to have on the team. What does Maxwell do? Well, Maxwell she is the support / scientist in the what's that squad called? Matisse. And she, look at her skill really quick, she provides charge speed, additional charge speed for Alice, and she provides a lot of attack for her teammate during burst, 43% for 10 seconds to be exact. She also provides additional rate, critical rate, and additional critical damage, but her main thing is she buffs the attack and charge speed a lot, especially for Alice. That is critical if Alice does not have the best OL guild out there. What she also do is that she actually does a pretty decent amount of damage herself, so you can use her as a DPS unit if you really have running out of teammates to use. Okay, Jacko is pretty good for PvP purpose only. She is used to team up with Scarlet. Do not put Jacko on the wish list until you have everyone I just mentioned on the Missilis. Next one will be Tetra. Tetra will be the entertainment BK company, except for the fact that they provide some of the best support and some of the best burst damage dealers. Alice, up until the release of Red Hood, actually not even up until the release of Red Hood, Alice up until the buffing of Red Hood was the highest damage characters in this game, with well-timed fast clicks, and she is able to achieve some pretty ridiculous number with built-in piercing on her attacks. For Alice, the issue with Alice is that she is a very high investment and very high return characters. She needs her skill level to be 10 and 1. Her second skill doesn't really do much. The continuous HP recovery is great in some sense, but not necessary, so you can just do like 10 for 10 and you will be perfectly happy with her output and her self-healing, because she just does so much damage. She will recover her health fully. Her burst is Wonderland. This will increase her charge speed by a lot, increase her attack by a lot. And what is powerful about Alice is that her sniper rifle charges at 350% damage by her by herself. Most sniper character only charge up to 250. And if you do speed shots with the Alice, she can literally charge from 0 to 350 within 1 frame. So just really quick at about 220 RPM rhythm, and you will perform the best damage out there. Next one, this one will be the most debatable one. Actually, both the Noise and Dola has pretty steep competitions. But I think Noise is worth up here for new players because she is just such a good tanking character. She also heals herself if you control her manually, because you want to have her each charge is longer than 1.6 seconds, okay? And then she will heal herself perfectly fine. And she also provides additional HP for herself and her teammates, which makes them a lot more durable than what they typically are. Okay, let's see. Next one will be Nor. Nor she is one of the bunny girls. She provides additional damage whenever her HP is above 70, so be careful with that. She also provides you maximum ammo capacity along with a maximum reloaded magazines, which will be very useful on the machine gun characters. She deals additional damage during her burst cycles. However, she also increases hit rate, increased damage interruption parts whenever she's with Blanc. And the Blanc is also very useful. Here, let us pull her out. In fact, I think Nor can be used with Blanc, but Nor herself does not provide that much damage boost until that Blanc is also in the picture. Actually, why don't I have Blanc selected on this one? Okay, yeah, my mistake. Blanc should be used, and excuse me. Yeah, okay, I was choosing some other stuff. Blanc should be used with Nor at all times because without Nor, Blanc's cooldown is 60 seconds, which is terrible. She provides shields for her teammate. She heals a lot. She's one of the highest healing characters in this game. And the biggest thing for Blanc is she increases the damage attack taken for enemies. All enemies, actually, in fact, for 39.26. This is similar to the attack damage buff that we previously discussed. It is out of the typical damage equation, so this is the final buffs to your damage, which is very good for a unit. You actually okay. So next one. Honestly, next one is tied between Dola and Volume. It depends on whether you have Leader. It also depends whether you have Dorothy. It depends whether you have another Burst 2 or Burst 1 character that has still cooldown reductions. If you already have a Burst 1, which is Leader cooldown reduction, then you want to use Dola. If you do not have a skill cooldown reduction, you want to use Volume. What Volume does? Well, Volume provides buffs to attack. She only provides buffs to attack to herself, so that's kind of useless because her attack value, her damage output value is pretty low. She provides additional attack, critical damage, additional critical rate, and skill cooldown reduction. But that's completely honest here. Her biggest use, the bigger reason people use her on the team is the skill cooldown reductions. Next one up is Dola. Dola gives some value in attack. Let's take a look. Let me take a drink as well. Entrepreneurship. So once every 5 seconds out of 10, so half of the time, she'll be providing your team's 16% attack increase. Okay. She provides burst cooldown reduction at 2.6, so she's actually one of the worst skill reduction characters out there. But at the same time, she provides additional attack and additional crit rate and additional crit damage whenever she bursts on multiple occasions. So it really depends on which burst slot you use. You either need burst 1 or burst 2 to have a cooldown reduction. Then you pick whichever one in perspective. Next up would be, I think that's it for the essentials. And then following that, it is optionals. If you have all those characters already, then you can start probably at least one copy. Then you can start looking into alternative characters that will help you with some of the lesser mainstream teams. Okay, Summer Annie's, which she already passed, but most likely she will get a reroll because she's Up's own IP. Summer Annie's works really well with Biscuit because Biscuit provides heals on attacker. She provides heals on defender. She also makes sure defender doesn't really die easily as well. But the biggest thing she does is she provides support allies attack plus 43% for 10 seconds. That's a lot of buffs. She also provides life steal for all support allies. And Summer Annie's, for whatever reason, she is a support unit, which means that Biscuit helps and works really well with her. And if you want to use Biscuit, you probably want to use on her Burst 2, which means her Burst 2 partner most of the time will be pairing with Polly. So just FYI, when you try to set your polling characters. Okay, next up is Sugar. She is also a decent alternative if you already have those characters like before. She increased the maximum ammo capacity of all outlet with shotgun, which is very, very useful for Gravedigger, especially when you're new or doesn't have enough DPS. Those additional shotgun shells will be a lifesaver in a lot of cases. Okay. Next one up would be Biscuit Sugar. Next one would be Yuha. Yuha is a very, very niche pick. I'm not sure I will recommend you guys to use her. She provides a whopping 90.75% for 5 seconds, but this is on a 30-second cooldown timer, which is incredibly hard to time, to be completely honest with you guys. But she does provide a very big burst. Most of the people use her with Snow White. Alright. Next one would be Rupee. Rupee, she does not have CDR. She also does not have a lot of fancier skills that a new character does. But what Ruby provides is a very solid DPS output for your team. If you are new and if you are trying to just push through levels, Rupee is actually one of the really good choices because she just provides a lot of damage for herself. All right, and Blanc Lease, Yuha, Volume. Oh, right, I forgot to mention Sakura. Sakura is a very good burst one to be used with, say, Noise, because she and her Noise is both on 40-second cooldown. Sakura also provides one of the best in class skill cooldown reductions of 4.84% seconds. That is a lot, okay? And at the same time, she provides additional attack for your team. And for one chance in her entire burst cycle or entire fight, she will decrease the amount of damage by wind cold enemy by 90%. What this means is that she is very, very useful on fights against the train. If you want to use her and not Noise and learn how to dance around the missiles to make sure you can abuse the invincibility frame, then Sakura is actually a pretty good pick. Alright, last but not least will be Novel. Novel is one of those characters that is certainly a one-trick pony, but she is such a one-trick pony. She's such a great one-trick pony that most tier lists rate her really high because of it. What she does, she provides a 67.5% buffs to damage taken on the team, which is also from out of the general damage calculation formula. So this is one of the final buffs that she can provide. What this also means that she is a very, very one-trick pony, and if anyone else having similar functions, she will be replaced. And with that being said, I think that is it for the current recommendation wish list. Remember, after you pick your wish list, press confirm and you save it. So anything you pull from the poll from this point on will be based on who you choose. For example, if you take a look at my wish list, now the probability info are all focused on character that I have selected plus the pilgrims, right? They are not on the wish list, so they won't be included. And of course, the SR is not affected. It's just when you pull the SSR unit, your wish list is going to help you. Well, with that being said, I think this should cover for all the new players' questions, or who do they want to use. If you have any more questions, please leave a comment below. And if you like my video, give me a like and thumbs up, and or subscribe to receive more updates on my videos. And I will be trying out to do solo raids to push my rank a little bit higher on solo raids tomorrow. We'll see what happens and see what the final result is. But with that being said, thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you next time. Good night.